Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me on this 4-day Instagram dahlia challenge. So now we're going to build out the flower. So we have the dahlia that we made yesterday. And so I'm going to show you how to complete this and build the rest of the flower out. So we're going to put this down. You're going to grab about 3 of these sheets that we have already pre-cut. These are 2.5 inches. And we're going to go ahead and find the ends, fold it in half, and then with your scissors, you're going to cut about 2 millimeters. About 2 to 3 millimeters is what you're looking at. And then also, So then we'll set this aside and go ahead and start cutting. So we're doing the sharp, pointy center. So we'll set this aside. And pretty much when you're doing dahlias, it's really all about cutting all these petals out. And I like them a little bit random in the sizes and the shape, but all in the same general form. And you can take 2 if you would like to, or you can just do 1, whatever you feel comfortable with. I would say when you're doubling up the paper, make sure that your fingers stays pretty steady on it, so when you cut it, it doesn't shift and give you a little bit of wonky edges. So we're just moving around and pretty much cutting lots and lots of petals to make the dahlias. And the really fun part is just creating each of these interesting shapes to make each of your dahlia forms out. And they're super fun to do. So we're just cutting away until we're getting all the fun shapes. And then I will show you how to cup these guys to form the outer middle part and the bottom part of the leaves. And just a few more left. Just forming it. Alright, let's go ahead and show you how to cup these guys. They're pretty much going to be the same technique that you would do with the 2-inch petals. And so let's go ahead and start. So what you want to do is left hand thumb on the bottom, right hand thumb on the top, and you're just going to stretch it out until you have this nice little curvature. And then you just do a whole bunch of them. You can stack them on top of each other if you like, and do 2 at a time. And it might make it go faster. And I just do whatever's easier. If the petals want to stick together, I'll do 2. If the petals don't want to stick together, I'll just do 1. And you just want to make sure that you cup each of the pieces. Just like so. And we're probably looking at about 30 pieces again. So we're probably looking at about 30 pieces of petals for the outer, the middle, and bottom part of the 2.5-inch petals. Alright, once you have this, we'll go ahead and glue it all together. So I'll just start by putting all the glue. And again, work at your own pace. Know your limitation with the glue. So if you work slow, don't put so many glue on each of the petals. Start with like 2 or 3. And then once you know how fast or how slow you're working, you can do more petals. Because you don't want the glue to dry before you get to it, because that would be such a waste of glue. And so I just want to thank all my Posey Box subscribers. I'm so happy you guys are joining me. And also, it's super easy for you guys to do this because all this material is in your box. And each month, we'll explore the different ways to use all the materials in the box. And I've already announced that in my October box, Priscilla Park of Sophia Rose Collective is my featured guest, and we're going to explore the entire month of October how to do large wallflowers. So she's been featured on Etsy, Sephora, Project Nurseries, so many amazing places. So I hope you will join us in ordering a box and learning more about her and how to build a large wallflower in October. And then for the month of September, I'm going to have Jessie back on again, and we're going to talk about the foxglove and how she's building it. And also she just announced that she is putting together a book, so I'm really excited about that. So again, back to the dahlia. What you want to do is you want to find the gap again, and let's talk about the gaps. So I just found a gap here and I just put a petal there, but here's another gap, here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap. And so what you want to do is just work around it and feed all those gaps. And another thing, as you're building this, every time you're going around one row, you want to start pulling out the petals a little bit. That way the flower looks like it's blooming. So I'm comfortable with this section, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip them and go to the next one, because my eye just like, oh, I don't see any noticeable gap, but the next gap is really noticeable. So I'm just going to go in and fill it. And then if the petals move around a little bit, just tug it back into place. And then if you still don't know how to figure out where the next gap is, it's really obvious. So flip it over, and you can already see how there's one that needs right here, another one over there. So go ahead and let's do that. So I'll place that there, and then the next gap I see is right here. So I'll go ahead and place that in, and then every once in a while I'll flip it back over. I'll make sure to use my thumb and my index finger and just press it in, making sure the glue gets spread all the way around. And when you do this, the petals will move, but just tug it back into place. And then now you can kind of see more of the gaps. So I'm definitely seeing one right here, and then I see another one right here, and then of course there's one there. But I'm gonna start going this way and then build up my flower back over there and make sure that I do cover that. So find the gap, putting a petal in, and then making sure every once in a while press all that glue in so it gets nice and spread out so it'll stick. And notice as I'm going around, I'm taking the petal, I'm pulling it out a little bit, so it's creating a little bit larger flower. And it's having it so the flower kind of hangs down as it's opening up. All right. And then I see a natural gap here. And then I'll just tug this one over because it moved a little bit. And then I see a few more gaps, so I'll go ahead and pop that in. And make sure you're keeping the base of each of the petals together. Let's move this over a little bit. And then here. And then here. We're almost about done. And we'll go ahead and find any last gap. And I'll take one quick look around, make sure there's any obvious gaps. And then I think I see one right here, so I'll go ahead and put this in. And then if you want to, and I think you could either stop here, or if you wanted to, I can actually see 5 more petals. So one thing you need to learn is when do I stop? So it's your call, it's your own preference call. You can either stop here because it looks pretty good, or you can continue on, or you can fuss around with it and move the petals a little bit, and then until it looks like it looks pretty good. So actually I'm pretty happy with this. So we'll go ahead and stop here, and that's how you would form your dahlias. So tomorrow when you come back, we're gonna finish the flowers by adding the sepals, and I'll show you how to make the leaves. And then I'll show you how to use the floral tape and wrap the whole stem together with the sepals. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's meet again tomorrow and let's finish the dahlia. Thank you so much.